Have you ever wondered what really happens to your consciousness when your physical body dies? Have you ever felt a deep fear about death, or perhaps a profound curiosity about whether your soul continues to exist beyond this lifetime? Have you ever experienced moments when you felt the presence of a loved one who had passed away, or sensed that there might be realms of existence beyond what we can see with our physical eyes? If these questions just stirred something profound in your soul, you're exactly where you need to be, because what I'm about to share will reveal the most comforting and transformative perspective that Paramhansa Yogananda taught about what happens to your soul after death. Ancient wisdom that can help dissolve fear of dying and awaken you to a deeper understanding of your eternal nature. You see, most people in the world either live in complete denial about death, or they're terrified by the unknown nature of what comes after. But the great spiritual master Paramhansa Yogananda revealed something that changes everything about how we can understand death and the continuation of consciousness. He lovingly taught us, death is not the end of your existence. It is simply the soul's graduation from one classroom of experience to another. Your physical body is like a costume that your soul wears for this particular lifetime. But when the costume becomes worn out or the role is complete, your soul simply removes it and continues its eternal journey. The essence of who you are, your consciousness, your love, your accumulated wisdom, never dies because it was never born. It is eternal. Whether you approach this topic from a religious perspective, a scientific curiosity, or simply as someone seeking comfort about mortality, these teachings can offer profound peace. Please understand that these perspectives represent Yogananda's spiritual understanding and may differ from your personal beliefs about death and afterlife. If you've ever had dreams of deceased loved ones that felt incredibly real, or experienced moments of deep meditation where you sensed your consciousness expanding beyond your physical body, or felt an inexplicable knowing that you are more than just flesh and blood, then you may resonate with this profound perspective. According to this understanding, death is not an ending. It is a transition into a deeper recognition of your eternal nature. And I promise you, by the end of this sacred journey together, you may never relate to death the same way again. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through Yogananda's most profound teaching about what he called the soul's journey beyond the physical, a detailed understanding that can transform your relationship with mortality and awaken you to what he described as the magnificent continuation that awaits every soul. Please understand that these teachings about death and the afterlife are meant to bring comfort and understanding. Though each person's spiritual journey and beliefs about these matters may differ significantly. But first, let me ask you something that might feel deeply familiar. Have you ever noticed that in your deepest moments of love, joy, or spiritual connection, you feel completely timeless? As if the part of you experiencing these feelings exists beyond the physical world? Have you observed that your most profound thoughts, insights, and feelings of love seem to come from somewhere deeper than your brain or body? Have you felt that your truest self, the one who observes your thoughts and experiences, feels eternal and unchanging even as your body ages? If you're recognizing this eternal aspect of yourself right now, you're already experiencing what Yogananda called the awakening to soul consciousness, where you begin to sense that your true identity may transcend physical existence. Yogananda explained it beautifully when he gently said, "Your soul is like a ray of light from the infinite Son of God." When a ray of sunlight passes through a prism, it appears to be separate colors, but it is still light. Similarly, when your soul passes through the prism of physical existence, it appears to be a separate individual, but it is still divine consciousness. At death, the soul simply withdraws from the physical prism and returns to its natural state of pure consciousness. The experiences, love, and wisdom gained during physical life become permanent treasures of the soul, never to be lost. Now, you might be wondering what this perspective actually means in practical terms about what happens in those first moments after death. And here's where this understanding becomes truly comforting. According to Yogananda's deepest teachings, there is what he called the 3 stages of soul transition, a natural process that, in his understanding, every soul experiences as it moves from physical existence to the astral realm. Whether you view these as literal descriptions or metaphorical comfort, understanding these stages can bring profound peace about the death process and help you prepare spiritually for your own transition when the time comes. Think about your own experiences with consciousness for a moment. Can you remember times when you were so absorbed in deep sleep, meditation, or profound love that you completely forgot about your physical body? Or moments when you felt your awareness expanding beyond the boundaries of your physical form? Take a moment to really feel into these experiences, because what you're recognizing is what Yogananda described as your soul's natural ability to exist independently of physical matter. The same ability that, according to his teachings, continues after a death. This recognition you just felt, it's what Yogananda called the moment of soul remembrance. Every time you experience consciousness beyond physical limitations, you're preparing for what he described as the natural transition that death represents. And here's what brings the deepest comfort in this perspective. The process of dying is not painful or frightening for the soul. It's actually described as a liberation into greater freedom and understanding. Now, I want you to be completely honest with yourself for a moment. When you think about death, do you feel primarily fear and anxiety about the unknown, or can you sense that there might be a beautiful continuation of your consciousness in a realm of greater love and understanding? Your answer will reveal how ready you are to embrace this understanding of your eternal nature. If you sense that beautiful continuation, then you're ready for what comes next. Because now, I'm going to share exactly what Yogananda taught about the 3 stages of soul transition, offering you a clear understanding of what he believed happens to consciousness in those precious moments and beyond. The first stage he called the gentle release, the moment when the soul peacefully withdraws from the physical body. Let's explore this together right now. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment and imagine your consciousness as a beautiful light that has been shining through your physical body. As Yogananda taught, feel this light gently lifting and expanding, becoming free from physical limitations while retaining all your love, memories, and wisdom. Silently say, "I am eternal consciousness. My body is temporary, but my soul is immortal. I am not afraid of transition because I am love itself, and love never dies." Did you feel that sense of peace and expansion? According to this teaching, that's a glimpse of the soul's natural state beyond physical existence. If you felt even a subtle sense of peace just now, imagine the profound liberation that, according to Yogananda, the soul experiences when it's no longer limited by physical constraints. But there's a second stage that he said brings even greater understanding. He called it the Astral Awakening, where the soul finds itself in a realm of pure thought and feeling, surrounded by the love of those who have gone before. Here's what Yogananda taught about this magnificent stage. In the astral realm, your soul experiences existence through pure consciousness rather than physical senses. You communicate through direct transmission of thought and feeling. You're reunited with loved ones who have passed before you. Most beautifully, you experience a life review where you see how every act of love you performed on earth created ripples of light that continue to bless the world. He taught that this realm is not a place of judgment, but of understanding, where your soul integrates the lessons learned during physical life and prepares for its next stage of evolution. Let me share a story that beautifully illustrates this perspective on transition. As I tell you this, I want you to ask yourself, how might my understanding of death change if I could embrace this view of it as a graduation into greater love and freedom? There was a devoted student who came to Yogananda in deep grief after losing her beloved husband, saying, "Master, I'm tormented by not knowing where he is or if he's suffering. The fear of death now haunts me every day. How can I find peace when I don't know what happened to his soul?" Yogananda looked at her with infinite compassion and said something that transformed her understanding completely. "My dear child, according to our spiritual understanding, your husband has not gone somewhere foreign or frightening. He has simply returned home to his natural state of pure love and consciousness. Right now, he exists in a realm where there is no pain, no limitation, only the joy of understanding his true nature. He can feel your love reaching him, and his love continues to surround you. Death is not separation, it is expansion. The love you shared is eternal and continues to connect you across all realms of existence." He then taught her a practice for connecting with her husband's soul. Each day, she would sit in meditation and send love to him in what Yogananda called the astral realm, trusting that consciousness transcends physical boundaries. She would also ask for signs of his continued presence and remain open to receiving them through dreams, synchronicities, or sudden feelings of his love. Over the course of several weeks of this practice, something beautiful began to unfold. She started having vivid dreams where her husband appeared peaceful and radiant, communicating that he was well and continuing to love her. She began noticing meaningful coincidences that felt like messages from him. Most importantly, her fear of death gradually transformed into a deep knowing that love is eternal and that their connection transcended physical existence. She realized, "Master, I thought death had taken him away from me, but I discovered that love had simply moved our relationship to a deeper level." When I share this story with people, they often ask with amazement, can the soul really continue to love and communicate after death? According to Yogananda's teachings, the answer is yes, because consciousness and love are not produced by the physical brain. They are expressions of the eternal soul that exists independently of matter. Many people report experiences that seem to confirm this understanding, though each person's experience with these matters is deeply personal and unique. Now here's what Yogananda wanted everyone to understand at the deepest level. He taught that the third stage of soul transition is the divine reunion, where the soul eventually merges back into the infinite consciousness from which it came, while retaining its individual experiences as gifts to the whole. As he beautifully said, "Death is not the opposite of life, it is life's fulfillment." Every soul that completes its earthly journey brings back treasures of love, wisdom, and experience that enrich the infinite consciousness of God. You are not just returning to where you came from, you are returning with gifts that make the divine even more beautiful. If you're truly ready to embrace this sacred understanding, then make this soul commitment right now. I recognize that I may be eternal consciousness temporarily expressing through a physical body. I release fear of death, knowing it may be simply a transition into greater freedom and love. I will live each day with the awareness that my soul may be immortal and that every act of love I perform creates eternal beauty. I trust in the magnificent continuation that may await all souls. And I choose to live and love without the limitation of death fear. Say it with your whole heart. Your eternal soul is listening and celebrating this recognition. As Paramhansa Yogananda beautifully reminded us, the truth about death is that it reveals the truth about life, that you are not a physical being having a temporary spiritual experience, but an eternal spiritual being having a temporary physical experience. When you understand this, you stop fearing death and start living fully, knowing that every moment of love, every act of kindness, every insight of wisdom becomes a permanent treasure of your immortal soul. Before we part ways, I want to leave you with something sacred you can do right now to connect with your eternal nature. Take out your phone and write yourself one word that represents your commitment to living without death fear. Perhaps eternal, love, fearless, or peace. Put it where you'll see it tomorrow morning. This simple act will anchor your understanding of your soul's eternal nature and remind you that you are so much more than your physical body. If this message brought you comfort and a new perspective about the soul's journey after death, I'd be deeply honored if you shared it with someone who needs this understanding today. Sometimes we become the vessel through which divine love reaches another soul who is grieving or fearful about mortality and needs to remember the eternal nature of consciousness. I'd love to know, what was that one word you wrote down about living without death fear? Share it in the comments below. Your courage to embrace your eternal nature might be exactly what someone else needs to find peace about mortality. Until our souls meet again in the eternal realm of love, may you remember that death may not be your enemy, but your graduation into greater understanding. Remember, dear soul, every moment you live with love, every act of kindness you perform, every insight you gain becomes a permanent treasure that your soul may carry into eternity. Honor the immortal consciousness that you are. Trust in the magnificent continuation that may await, and live each day knowing that love never dies because you are love itself expressing in human form. Through understanding death as transition rather than ending, you discover that life becomes infinitely more precious and meaningful. This is Yogananda's greatest gift, the recognition that you may not be preparing for death, but for the eternal celebration of consciousness that could be your true destiny.